We are going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. This is the December 2019 HMIS user meeting. This should be just a quick meeting, but we wanted to give you a couple updates on what we've been working on. So we'll talk a little bit about the family bed reservation pilot, the report cards, ROI settings in HMIS, the December data committee meeting, system performance measures corrections, as well as our HMIS calendar. And if there are any questions at the end of the meeting, we can go over them at that time. As a reminder, if you haven't already, please enter your agency name into the chat so we can track who is participating in the meeting. So the family bed reservation pilot started for emergency shelters on October 16th. Right now, we are piloting this program with the Mercy House Family Care Center and Pathways of Hope via Esperanza projects. And the Family Solutions Collaborative is matching households that are waiting for family emergency shelter beds to any units that become available at these projects. And all of this, all of the matching is being done in HMIS. If you have any families that are in need of emergency shelter, they can be added to the wait list once they are connected to an access point. And families can be connected to access points either by calling 211, completing the family assessment on our 211 website, or contacting the access point directly. And this pilot is expected to run until April 2020, at which time we will be assessing the system and determining if it can be released for wider use for emergency shelters. Any questions on that? Okay. I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm going to move on to report cards. Myra?
Can you hear me?
Myra?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Can you share my screen, please?
You should be able to share it now.
Oh, okay. Okay. So good morning, everyone. By now, everyone should have been aware that Adriana was working on revamping the data quality report cards, and they have been published to our website as of late November. You can find it on our OC HMIS website under the reports tab. So I can just go ahead and go there right now. It's going to be under reports and right here. So we ask that you use this as reference when your agency is looking at ways that they can improve their data quality. This report card will be published on a quarterly basis and looks at two main components of data quality, which is data completeness and data timeliness. If you're curious to see how each of these elements are being recorded, please refer to the section of the page right here as it explains how the information is being captured. We also updated the thresholds for the data completeness charts right here, so you can see what we're measuring up against. And we also have that same section of explanation for the data timeliness down here as well. We've also included the data quality corrections reference guide here, which should be used whenever your agency receives corrections from us. Use this as a guide as to see how you can improve these measures. So as I mentioned, this quarterly, let me click on the link here. So as I mentioned, the quarterly report, I will be looking at data completeness and data timeliness. So each of these have its own little tab on this dashboard. Over on the right, if you scroll down to one of these tabs, you'll have a little key right here that shows you what each of the colors mean and represent as far as where they are in the bar graphs. If you hover on any of these measures and click on them, you'll be able to see how many people are represented in that measure, as well as the percentage. And you can just scroll down to each of these data elements to see what score they have. And then being in color should make it a bit easier for your agencies to kind of see where areas of improvement you guys could have. So for example, right here, you can see this one's data not collected. So you can definitely use that to kind of see where your agency can improve. Up here at the top, you'll have the average data completeness score. So that's the average for how your agency is basically feeding into all of that report. So for all the projects, the data completeness score is 97. So like I said, you can just click and view how each of your projects is performing and how they feed into this. On the second tab, we have the data timeliness. So this measures how many days it takes for your agencies to report and record the data in HMIS. So we're using that for data start, services, and project exit. So how many days it takes for your agencies to enter each of these, the project start date, the services, and the project exit dates. If for whatever reason your agency does not have a chart on any of these sections, it is because your agency didn't have any numbers to report on this. So.
Can you just point out where the project dropdown is, just in case?
Oh yeah, right here. So it's on that section, and then on here it's right here as well. So that's about it. Is there any other questions you guys need? And again, on the first chart, the first tab, it's just that same explanation we have right here, explaining how we got all those measures.
And so our plan for this is to publish these data quality report cards on a quarterly basis for each project. And I guess the next step for us is we want to, in addition to looking at the universal data elements, we're going to work on publishing this for the program entry and program exit data elements as well. But we wanted to, so that'll be in the future, but we wanted to get this out so everybody could start looking at their data quality again. And I'm not seeing any questions, Myra.
Okay. Let me stop sharing.
All right. Casey?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so last month we talked about potential changes to the way releases of information records are recorded in HMIS. And we got pretty overwhelming feedback that agencies did not like having the option to have each agency upload their own release of information record, because using that setting meant that the yellow release of information is missing banner would show up even if your client had a release of information from another agency, which is permissible under our policies and procedures. So we've decided to switch back to the system option, which means that client profiles will only be able to have one active release of information record at a time uploaded by any agency within the COC. So if you would like to upload and scan the copy of the consent form that a client signed at your agency, you can still do that and upload it to the Files tab.
Although it's not required.
No, it's not required.
I still don't see any questions. All right. Linda.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Okay, cool. Regarding the December data committee meeting, there will be no meeting this month. So, but the street outreach PPR reports will still be published on December 12th.
Right. And Casey?
Okay. So last week we sent out what will be the only set of corrections for the System Performance Measures report this year. So you should have received those already. An email was sent to all agency administrators with a link, or sorry, no, the link was sent to your HMIS account, and an email explaining the corrections was sent to all agency administrators last week. The corrections in those files are due by Thursday, December 19th. You don't need to inform us when you've completed them, but if you have any questions about the corrections or how to complete them, please submit a ticket to the help desk.
And Linda.
Okay. So we know that some of you guys have been asking us to put a schedule together just so that it's easier to keep track of any event that's coming up. So we are currently working on putting a calendar together for you guys, which will include important information such as due dates for the PPRs, also the SPMs and the ELSA. It'll also include the HIC and PIC dates and also dates when the PPRs will be live and published. Hopefully we will have this up and running by the next user meeting so that you guys will have a schedule to reference to. So is there any questions pertaining to the calendar, or is there anything that my team would like to add?
I would say if anybody has any feedback on other information that they would like included on the calendar, if there's anything else you can think of that isn't on this list, that would be helpful to have a schedule for. Please let us know either now in the chat, or if you think of it later, you can enter a help desk ticket also. This is just a document you can reference so you can kind of plan your workload. If you know you have PPR corrections due by a certain date, you can plan that into your workload to help you stay on top of everything, I guess. Yes, so we're hoping to have it released by January. I'm not seeing any questions or anything else anyone would like added to the calendar at this time. All right, so we've been through all of the scheduled agenda items at this time. So if there's any questions, anyone has anything you'd like to see in HMIS demoed, we have some time now that we can go over that. So I'll give everyone a few minutes in case anyone's typing, and if there aren't any questions, then I will end the meeting. If you haven't already, please enter your agency name into the chat box so we know who's participating. And I'll just wait a couple minutes. We got one question. Can we add the HMIS webinar meetings to the HMIS calendar? Yes, definitely we can do that. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. The January webinar is scheduled for January 8th at 10. We will send out a reminder for that meeting, and we will also send out the recording as well as the meeting minutes from today's meeting. Thank you all for attending, and have happy holidays if we don't talk to you, and we will see you again in January.